room to grow here, that there's still challenges that they haven't met, and give them another perspective as to what they're doing with these clients, so then they start to look at things a little bit differently.
So probably the main one that I noticed was like, you seem to ask permission to give recommendations.
Yep.
And then it slows you down to give the recommendation, but it also de-emphasizes the value of that recommendation, or maybe how much you think that that's important that they change, versus kind of them deciding whether they want to be a part of it or not. So I think if you just lead in with exactly what you want them to do, and if it's exactly what you want them to do, then it shouldn't be like a discussion around that, because it's actually going to get them to their goal. And then if they come back and like, no, I'm not a fan of that, then you can probably just go again and say, well, look, actually, I think we do need to give it a go. Versus like, what do you think about that? Like, do you think you could give that a go?
Yeah.
It leads into them going, no, I'm not really sure about that. Oh, yeah, I probably could. You know, it just kind of changes how that delivery lands, I think.
Other people would lose half a kilo to a kilo, and you just lost 2 kilos a week.
Yeah.
Like, this is rare. This isn't something that happens all the time.
I think I'm used to it with him. He does it all the time.
Well,
really
we'll just even going like, you just continue to astound me how much you're good at doing this. Like, you're following my instructions, you're doing it, you're nailing it. And if that helps, rather than trying to peak your voice.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But that's probably the one thing. And then maybe when you were taking down the notes, I didn't know what you were doing. Like, were you just writing down what he was eating?
Oh, I write down like his breakfast, then I'll have lunch, then I'll have dinner. And
Yeah.
snacks and stuff.
Yeah. Another option to speed you up could be just you take photos of it, because like it's a food diary, and then just upload it to your Galaxy. But if it's quicker for you to do that, do that.
I find that sometimes when I take photos, I tend to just forget to look at it. So I like.
So when you talked about like feared foods and feared food groups, do you find that they're like quite like loaded questioning, and like they bring up a lot of like emotions for the clients? Like, I find that like, how far do you go down that rabbit hole of like when it's like kind of going into like psych and not us? Like, where do you kind of cut the line there?
I think that comes down to your confidence and delivery in discussing them. Because at the end of the day, you're still an expert in treating eating disorders as a dietitian. So I think the less you're stressed about it, the less stressed they're going to be about talking about those particular foods, and the way you frame why it's important to talk about them and list them. And you can say, look, we're not going to make you start having everything on this list today. It's just really important for me to understand what it is exactly that's preventing you from progressing to becoming better, basically.
There's options for you, right? I would think if it's not working for him, then you change it.
Yeah.
But if he's more varied, then I think there's ways to do it. I would generally put it into a 7-day plan, and you can be quite prescriptive that way. If he finds that difficult, then don't do it that way, but put it all into 7 days. So then you can distribute the number of times he would have steak in a week, the number of times he would have chicken kebabs in a week. You might include a burger. Those types of options. Assessing them is that you've already made decisions about that. You've already decided that's not going to work. You've already probably used your experience as bias towards what that outcome is going to be, and that's good to a point, but it's also really bad. And that's when having the shadowing comes into place. Having the revisions of that feedback comes into place. But again, like, that's all babysitting duties for your own clinical growth and development.
The mentor there to help you get better and grow and be supported, not to just be your friend. So